Hello, everybody. I want to go over 5 steps for creating an effective summary of a research source. So that is the next assignment that you're going to be working on today. So I just want to go over a couple things that you can keep in mind to help you make sure that you're summarizing something accurately and hopefully something that will make your life a little easier as you're doing this assignment. Let me go ahead and pull up an article. So I return to the Opposing Viewpoints in Context database. This is the one that I showed you in the second library orientation that you just watched. I'm still searching my topic relating to obesity for my paper. I found this article in the viewpoints category. It looks like something I might want to use in my paper. So I'm going to use this to summarize. So let's talk about the 5 steps to make an effective summary. Step 1, skim important information. What is that important information? It's the title. Make sure you look at and pay attention to what the title is. 2, the author. In this case, the author is Thomas Spohr, a former Army Lieutenant General, director of the Heritage Foundation Center for National Defense. Okay, so it tells me that this person knows a lot about the military. The next thing I'm going to do, scroll down to where the actual essay starts, which is right here, and I'm going to read just the opening paragraph, or if it's really short like this, the opening 2 paragraphs, just to see the introduction. So if I read this, okay, we're talking about a budget deal that President Trump signed, something about providing additional money for a military. Then the writer goes on to say, this money can't fix one of America's greatest security challenges, the reality that fully 71% of the country's youth can't qualify to join the military. Okay, so this tells me that, yes, this paper relates to obesity, but the main point, the main question that this paper is really interested in is why can't 71% of the country's youth qualify to join the military? So the ultimate kind of idea in the mind of this writer is, we have a problem recruiting people to enlist in the military. What can we do about it? So that helps me get a handle of what this article is going to be discussing. The next thing that I look at after the introduction are subtitles, or the titles of sections. So the obesity obstacle, America's exceptionalism, national, state, and local interventions. So if I can connect these 3 concepts together, these subtitles, that's probably one way for me to structure my summary. Okay, so that was all step 1. So step 1 is all about skimming, just to kind of get an overview very, very broadly of what the article is about. Title, author, who the author is, the introduction, and then subtitles. Okay, so that's step 1. Now let's go back to this article and let's talk about step 2. Step 2 is to actually read it and annotate. Remember, annotation is where you take notes on a text as you read it. So maybe you're handwriting notes in a notebook, maybe you're typing notes in a blank Word document, maybe you have printed off your article and you're writing notes directly in the margins. Any way is fine. But what I like to do when I annotate, and this helps me a lot when I am summarizing an article, I ask questions, and then I answer those questions in my notes. So my first question is, I can just look at this first subtitle and say, well, what's the obstacle? What is the obstacle preventing us from doing? So I can look and read this section to figure out what the obstacle is, what it's preventing us from doing. So asking that question in my head and then answering it in my notes in my own words, that helps me a lot. I can go on to the next section, America's exceptionalism. Well, my first question is, what is exceptionalism? And how does it relate to obesity and the military? So in my notes, as I'm reading this section, I'll answer that. And then the third section, national, state, and local interventions. Okay, so it seems like in this section, the writer is talking about some solutions, some things that we can do to intervene in this problem. So I'm going to ask myself, what interventions is he suggesting we should take? I answer that question in my notes. And so this way, I kind of already have an outline in my annotations, in my notes, about what I'm going to actually put into the actual summary when I start writing it. So reading and annotating is the second step. And to annotate, ask questions in your head about what you're reading, and then write the answers to those questions in your notes. That will help, okay? All right, now step 3, you have all your annotations. Step 3 is to look at those annotations and actually draft the summary itself. If you can look only at your notes and not at the article, then you guarantee that you are putting everything in your own words, because right, that's what a summary is. It's your own words, the idea from the articles, of course, but in your own words. So just looking at your notes will help you kind of make sure that you're doing that you're staying on track and only writing things in your own words and not in the article's words. Okay, so when you draft your summary, one thing that you want to keep in mind in the first sentence, identify the title and the author and the main point in one sentence. Who's the writer? What's the title? What's their main claim? Get that, boom, out of the way in the first sentence in your summary. Then the next 3, 4, 5 sentences are the supporting details. So in this case, I would talk about what the obstacle is that we face. I'm going to talk about how that obstacle of getting people to enlist in the military relates to obesity. I'm going to talk about the different interventions or the solutions to the problem that the writer talks about. So that's what I would do for this particular article that I'm summarizing. So that was step 3, to draft it. Step 4, go back and revise and proofread, because of course this is something that you are not only turning in for a grade, but when you revise and proofread, it makes your language more clear, and that can be really helpful for you when you go back and look at your notes a couple days from now or however long it might be, to make sure that your sentences make sense. That will help you in the long run. So don't forget to revise and proofread. The final step, step 5, you want to create a citation for the source. So in the summarizing an article assignment that you're going to do in just a moment, I ask you for the summary and for the citation. You want to get in the habit of taking notes in your summaries and also writing the citations down. So that way, when you go back to look at a source, you have the information that you need to put on the references or works cited page, as well as the information that you need for the in-text citation. So whenever you're doing research for any kind of assignment, essay, paper, project for any class, get in the habit of following this procedure for writing a summary and including the citation with it, and it will make your life easier. I promise, from experience. I know that to be true. Okay? So those are the 5 steps. Step 1, skim important information, including the introduction paragraph. Step 2, read and annotate. And to help you annotate, ask questions in your mind about what you're reading and answer those questions in your notes. Step 3, draft the summary. In that first sentence, include author's name, title, their main point, and then the following 3, 4, 5 sentences in your own words, look at your notes, and add in supporting details. Step 4 is to revise for clarity and proofread. Step 5, create that citation, and then you're finished. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck with your summarizing an article assignment, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.